Hello, ghosties. I'm Chance Lee,
And I'm Amanda McAvoy.
and this is That's So Gothic, a movie podcast about girls, guys, and haunted houses. And you know, Amanda, I I thought it said Liberate me, save me, but it's not me. It's Liberate tuta me, save yourself from hell.
At 0300 this morning, TDRS picked up an automated navigation beacon broadcasting at 2-minute intervals in Neptune orbit.
This is incredible. It's the Event Horizon. She's come back.
Event Horizon is the culmination of a secret government project to create a spacecraft capable of faster-than-light flight. The ship doesn't really go faster than light. What it does is it creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
Where's she been for the last 7 years, Doctor?
That's what we're here to find out. After 7 years in deep space,
18 people on board this ship when it disappeared. I want them all accounted for. Opening outer door.
it came back abandoned.
Any crew?
Negative. This place is a tomb.
But it didn't come back alone.
Captain Miller! I've got some problems here!
Ship has been beyond the boundaries of our universe. Who knows where it's been? And what it's brought back with it.
The ship is reacting to us, and the reactions are getting stronger.
What are you telling me? That this ship is alive?
I have such one thing to show you.
Oh my God!
It knows my secrets. It knows my fears.
Vacate. I want off this ship.
I can't leave.
She won't let you.
God help us.
Released in 1997, Event Horizon was directed by the other Paul Anderson and written by Philip Eisner. It stars many actors who all have their own Wikipedia pages, including, but not limited to, Laurence Fishburne, Sam Neill, Kathleen Quinlan, Jolie Richardson, Richard T. Jones, Jack Noseworthy, Jason Isaacs, and Sean Pertwee. And they are all the crew of an intergalactic spaceship.
I'm surprised they all have Wikipedia pages since I don't know, 80% of them.
There's a few names I recognize, but I couldn't tell you, and faces, but I could
Mm.
not tell you anything else they're in.
Yes.
This is the story of a rescue mission in space gone horribly wrong.
Mm.
I think that's our new title for the podcast. It's gone horribly wrong, because I've used that
Everything.
as an intro for at least like 4 movies now.
Everything always goes horribly wrong.
Event Horizon also went horribly wrong. This was a flop. It made about $40 million against a $60 million budget. It has a 35% critical tomato and a 62% audience rating. So not bad for the audience. Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars, which actually seems pretty generous from him.
Wow. Yeah.
He said that Event Horizon opens with a lot of class. It has the detailed space vessels moving majestically against the background of stars. It has the deep rumble of the powerful drives. It has sets displaying persuasive technology. I love movies like this. I got up and I moved closer to the screen, volunteering to be drawn in. And then he goes on a bit and he eventually says, unfortunately, Event Horizon is all style, climax, and special effects. The rules change with every scene. Deeply buried in Event Horizon is a suspicion of knowledge. Maybe that's why its characters have so little of it.
That's very rude. I, something I respect about Event Horizon is I feel like a lot of the characters make solid choice, like maybe not the best choices, but not the worst choices.
That's fair. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think that's very rude of you, Mr. Ebert.
I think he just says that because they do the thing where they explain physics with the pencil and the piece of paper, and he
Yes.
thinks that they should know that already since they're already in space.
Was he alive when Interstellar came out?
So I actually don't know, and I didn't remember that they did that in Interstellar.
Yeah, it was funny. I saw it in the movie and like in this Event Horizon, and I had a moment of like, that feels very familiar. And then I saw it in one of the like IMDb fun facts or something. But I wonder if Ebert saw Interstellar and thought it was like the smartest fun, but I think he's explaining it to laymen in Interstellar. So I guess I get it. But like,
Mm.
I don't know. I think it's kind of funny that, that's a point of contention, but it ends up being an iconic piece of movie later on.
I only found out that they did it in Interstellar because the Wikipedia page for Event Horizon says that this is a movie that is referenced in other works of popular culture.
Mhm.
And I said, citation needed, please. There's no citation for that. So I
Yeah.
Googled Event Horizon reference, and the first thing that popped up was Interstellar.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, that's
Iconic.
I barely remember Interstellar.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal if Matthew McConaughey said Murph, Murph one more time. I said I'm going to turn it off, and then he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Click.
I saw Interstellar in theaters, which I think is the only reason why any of it retained in my brain.
Mm.
Yeah.
The really there was a little glitch on the Roger Ebert page where at
Mm.
the bottom it says cast and top billed is Jack Noseworthy.
Who does he play in it?
He plays Baby Bear, Justin, the one
Oh,
who gets sucked out of the airlock.
yeah, Boo Bear.
But I think they meant to put Sam Neill because the cast it says Jack Noseworthy as Billy, but Sam Neill is Billy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they didn't get that right.
But I want to talk about Jack Noseworthy for a second. I
Mhm.
have had a lifelong crush on Jack Noseworthy, probably from
Really?
this movie, and the fact that he plays Eric Dittmeyer, the bully in the Brady Bunch movie. Um, I have been in love with this man.
Yep.
He's from Lynn, Massachusetts.
Ah, really?
Yes. And he has been in a relationship with a man for 28 years.
So he was
Like,
already in that relationship or around the time that this movie came out.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, I
I
love
never
him.
knew that. The guy he's married to is a Broadway choreographer, and they just had a baby a couple years ago.
That's so cute.
So I wish I was that man, but I was also like 7 when the Brady Bunch movie came out, so I understand why I'm not. But but I'm so happy for him. I had no idea.
I'm mostly proud of him for getting out of Lynn. That's a huge achievement.
Right? He
Yeah,
went far.
he went far. He went far. Good for him.
But before we talk about the rest of the cast,
Hmm.
what did you think of this movie? Had you seen this before?
I'd never seen it before. I don't know that I've ever heard of it or like if I had it was sort of this like pop culture reference.
Hmm.
I mean, I saw Interstellar, so apparently I witnessed some reference. But no, I'd never seen it before. This movie was way grosser than I was expecting. Oh my goodness. Because even like Alien, you know, uh, like there's obviously gross parts. There's like the chest burster scene, like that's disgusting. But I feel like a lot of times space horror, it doesn't get into like body horror that often or gore. And it was kind of brutal. Um, I enjoyed this movie. I think in general, I just am if it's a horror movie and it's rated R, I'm gonna enjoy it at this point. Like that's kind of like my
Yeah.
bar is so low. Um, but I enjoyed it. I loved Sam Neill in it. I really liked the atmosphere and the ship itself. We'll get into it when we talk about location, but there were a couple of really cool features that I didn't notice that I read about afterwards with the ship. Um, I enjoyed it. Like, is it my favorite movie of all time? No, but like I would watch it again. Like I would recommend it. I had a good time watching it.
Good.
Yeah. How do you feel about the movie?
So I saw this movie in the theater,
Oh,
when
wow.
it came out. I was very young,
Yeah.
and I went to see it with my mother and her boyfriend,
Mhm.
and I had probably never seen a horror movie like this before. Like
Mm.
you said, with this level of gore and intensity. So
Mhm.
it stuck with me for many, 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 many years. And I've probably seen it like a half dozen times.
Wow.
And I used to really like it, but it does not. Don't watch it again or watch it maybe once.
Okay.
It doesn't hold up to repeated viewings is the main issue. I feel like the first time I watched it, it's like sensory overload. All
Yeah.
the shit that's happening, I'm just kind of like am in shock. The more I'm able to pay attention to the movie, the more I
Mm.
realize it doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what the plot of this movie is by the time we get to the end of it. Um, and so the first 4 or 5 times I saw it, I didn't care.
Yeah.
But eventually I've like, okay, I've played with Event Horizon enough. You know, the wheels kind of squeaky and falling off. I gotta
Yeah.
put it up on the shelf,
Mhm.
and appreciate it from afar.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think it's a good movie to go into with, like, no expectations and
Mhm.
no real idea of what it is. Um, yeah, watch it once, maybe twice. I did end up watching this movie once fully, and then I kind of watched bits and pieces of it today before recording since I watched it a little while ago. And it's definitely harder. I mean, I kind of blamed it on I was just tired this morning, but it's definitely harder to pay attention to the second time, probably because it's not
Mhm.
as grabby, it's not as shocking. Um, but yeah, that's a really good point. Maybe just keep this as like a one-time watch.
It's good going into it knowing nothing about it and
Mhm.
kinda going along for the ride. It's like a roller coaster.
Mm.
What the Wikipedia says is that the movie was originally like 130 minutes long. It was a little over 2
Mm.
hours, and the studio cut it down to what it is, which is like 95. So I feel like there's a good I feel like there was a better movie. Normally, I'm like, movies should be 90 minutes, but
Yes.
this one wasn't made to be 90 minutes, and when you cut all of it out, I think that's why it turns into just choppy nonsense at the end.
Yes. Did you look into at all, so it's funny, I actually did not a lot of research, but, like, I stumbled across a couple of things about this movie. Did you look into, like, what happened to the cut footage?
No.
So people have been, because this movie kind of has a cult following now. Um, so people have been asking, because a lot of people found that out, that so much of it was cut out. People have been asking for a director's cut. And the director, first of all, most of the footage that was cut out of the movie that was on VHS tapes, they for some reason, the studio, when they disposed of it, it got buried in a salt flat. And they they actually, like, I think they found the tapes, and it was all so badly degraded, though, they couldn't salvage any of it. And the director, I think the interviews were from, like, 2020, it was definitely from either 2020 or 2021, because the director, the other Paul Anderson, said that he thinks there's a producer who has a lot of the footage on tape, but, it was, at the height of the pandemic, and the producer lived in Italy, so they couldn't travel. So I think he mentioned something about getting in touch with him and trying to see if he did. Obviously, that was a little while ago now, so I don't know if maybe that didn't pan out or maybe it's panning out behind the scenes. I
Oh,
don't
that would be
know.
awesome.
Yes, because I agree. I think that there was a lot of good footage cut. I will say one of the things they said that was shortened quite a bit was, um, there's this, I think it's kind of one of the most iconic scenes is the scene of the former crew, what happens to them, and they're just brutalizing each other, and I think it's that scene and the glimpse into hell towards the end of the movie, both of those were longer, and I kind of like that you only get these, like, choppy bits and pieces of it. I think it makes it almost more disturbing. So, we'll
Mhm.
see, but yeah, apparently a lot of the footage was lost, but hopefully maybe not forever. Fingers crossed, because that would be cool.
That would be so cool.
Mhm.
I would buy that on Blu-ray.
Yes, yeah, definitely, and I think the director still has a lot of love and passion for the movie from what I could see, so it would be cool to get, like, a really good director's commentary. I don't know if it did have one, if you found one.
The
Um,
disc that I got from my library had no good special
no
features.
special features, yeah, so I don't know if he ever did one, so that would be really interesting. Um, but yeah, there's definitely, like, a love for this movie out there.
I'm happy to hear that. I am very
Yeah.
nostalgic. I have a nostalgia for this movie.
Mhm.
So Paul Anderson, he was kind of the prototype for Zack Snyder, I feel like.
Mm,
A director who is technically competent and makes entertaining movies, but for some reason everyone shits all over him
yeah.
because he would go on to do the like 6 or 7 Resident Evil movies.
Because he's the one who's married to Mila Jovovich.
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Which,
and
like, hate him all you want, but he's coming out on top because
he bagged
she's
a baddie.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, probably around 90, I was probably in the theater watching Event Horizon with my hair dyed red from the Feria that had Mila Jovovich on the box, like, that
So good.
that's the one I always bought, was the one with her on the box.
Yes,
If someone was going to the
it's
store and I'd be like, "Can you buy me hair dye? It's the one with Mila Jovovich on the box." Like,
so good.
I loved that red.
Oh, that's so
Um,
funny. I remember that, yeah.
yeah, and this was a big year for her too, because Fifth Element was also 1997.
Oh, wow, yeah, she was popping.
Yeah, yeah, which I love Fifth Element as well, but,
Yeah,
yeah, this so before this movie, Paul Anderson did Mortal Kombat. Do, do, do,
right.
do, 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 do. Mortal
Yes.
Kombat is solid.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I was reading yeah, I think it was in the article about the film being lost, like, he had sort of this really good reputation going into Event Horizon because Mortal Kombat was such a success, which I did not realize. I think he was offered to direct a different movie, and I wish I could remember, but he chose instead he really wanted to do an R-rated horror movie, so he chose to do this. Yeah, I had no idea he had such, like, a upstanding reputation.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was a phenomenon. Like, it was
That's
so
so funny.
big,
I
and
don't know anything about it.
I went back and rewatched it maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's a
Mhm.
rockin' good time.
Really? Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Our, gothic girl, Bridget Wilson from House on Haunted Hill is Sonya Blade in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh, very good. Is it gothic at all? Should we talk about it?
There is a hell dimension, and they
Oh,
are lured in by someone and trapped in this situation where they have to engage in Mortal Kombat do do
hell
do
yeah,
to get out of it. I just wanna play the song, like,
of course. Yeah, you
I
have
love that
to.
song. The, so I was reading a bit about the movie. I didn't know anything about the screenwriter. He didn't really do much else, and it seemed like the script was kind of a piece of trash when it started, honestly. It was very much an Alien knockoff,
Yeah.
and I read on Wikipedia that the screenwriter acknowledged that he was heavily influenced by Warhammer 40,000, which I only know is
Oh,
that nerdy miniature painting game.
yes, yeah, I don't know that much about it, but I've heard of it, for sure.
I just I can't say this without being insulting, but I feel like it's about a stupid person trying to write a smart movie.
Yes, yeah, I can agree with that.
So Paul Anderson did a lot of rewrites to
Mm,
it and made it. I called this movie for years Shining in Space.
yes, yeah,
And so I didn't realize though until this watch how it is so influenced by The Shining because there's even that vat of blood at the end that busts
Right.
open and all the blood comes out like the elevator scene from The Shining.
Yeah.
But everyone on the internet says he was also inspired by Solaris, which I've never seen.
I've never seen it. Um, it definitely has a lot of Hellraiser vibes too.
Yes,
Yeah.
I probably had not seen Hellraiser the
Mm,
last time I saw Event Horizon.
yeah.
And so by the time I got to the end of this, I was like, "Oh, it's The Shining meets Hellraiser in space."
In space. Yeah, it's definitely yeah, for sure.
The only thing I knew about Solaris is that it's a 3-hour
Oh,
Russian sci-fi movie, and I only know about it for 2 reasons. One, George Clooney did a remake in 2002 that was heavily panned.
oh, I think I've seen that.
Oh,
That's so funny. I haven't thought about that in many years. I went through a George Clooney phase. I'm pretty sure I
okay,
watched
fair.
that because it has something to do with, like, do they try to colonize the sun or something?
I've
I don't
never
know.
seen it.
Yeah, it's been a while.
The one thing I knew about it is that in the television program
Mm,
Felicity, starring
yes.
Kerry Russell, the Pink Ranger is on the
Mhm.
show, Amy Jo Johnson. The Pink Ranger is asked on a date by a film major to go see Solaris, and which seems like the most pretentious film major thing to do. And so
That's
she
so
goes
funny.
to a video store to check it out before she
Mhm.
goes, so she'll sound like she'll know what she's talking about when she
Yeah,
goes to watch it. And I found a clip on Instagram of all places of that scene, and I
yeah.
watched it today. And she says, "I'm looking for Solaris," and the and the guy that gives her the video is someone from American Pie, I forget who,
Mm.
and he goes off on this rant about, like, the pretentious film bros and exactly what she should say to them, and everything.
Oh,
It's
that's so
it was
good.
really funny,
Oh, that's so good.
but I love that I got to mention Felicity on the podcast.
What's your favorite? I think you have before. You've definitely
Oh,
talked to
prob
me about Felicity, yeah.
Felicity, 1997, I was, like, hardcore into Felicity for sure. Um, there are other members of the cast. I I don't have much to say about them. Lawrence Fishburne is in this. I've never cared for Lawrence Fishburne. He's in the Matrix movies. Okay.
I feel like he was really good in this. I actually had the thought when I was watching it. I was like, "I feel like Lawrence Fishburne needs more flowers. Like, he needs more praise." Like, I liked him in this. I thought he was really
Okay, I
good.
love this.
Yeah, I don't know. He was the only I think it helped that he was the only character I kind of ended up caring about.
Mm.
Um, he was the only one who I cared to see make it out.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that says a lot about Lawrence Fishburne because you don't know anything about his character besides he's just
No,
captain. Like, that's
he's Captain.
literally it. That's it. But I don't know, I liked him in this. I don't know that I have much else to say on it, but um, I don't know. I like him. He's
I
comforting.
I could picture the Wachowskis watching this and being like, "That's who we
Mm,
want for Morpheus."
yeah, because he's kind of this like even-keeled, very I mean, he has an amazing voice.
That's what I was
Um,
about to say, yeah.
it's amazing, like butter. I don't know why we're giving like Morgan Freeman all of these narration roles when it should be Lawrence Fishburne.
Fair.
Um, oh, he's just amazing. But yeah, I liked him in this. You know, I appreciate that he has like a little gap in his teeth. What
Mm.
was he in that show about Hannibal Lecter?
Oh, he was. He was in Hannibal.
Yeah,
He was like, oh,
detective or something?
he was the FBI, like,
Yeah.
chief or something.
Yes. I liked him in that too. Um,
That's fair. I did like him in that.
yeah, I think he's just a solid actor. And again, like I feel like I don't know, has he ever won any major awards? I don't know if he's ever won like an Oscar or anything. I can't, no offense to him. I can't imagine why. I just don't know what he's been in.
Yeah.
Um, but I
I
feel like
mostly know
he's
him from genre stuff.
yeah, yeah, like I feel like he's just a solid pick.
I feel like my mom's boyfriend, who we went to see this movie with,
Mhm.
would have really been into Laurence Fishburne.
Oh,
He
like, that's why you
loved
went.
he loved like a strong black man in a movie. He
Mm,
loved Samuel L. Jackson. Sammy J, he would say,
yes.
as if they were
They were
BFF.
brothers.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I think they would have gotten along well together. I really liked
Aw,
this guy my mom dated for a while.
yeah.
And I have to and I don't even know if this man is still alive. I don't know anything, but and so he regardless, he's never listening to this. But I have to give him a shout out because he is one of the main reasons why I'm into movies
Oh,
because I was just getting into movies around this time and he had this bottomless VHS tape collection that I could take a movie from any movie whenever I wanted. And I just watched so much stuff from his collection that I'm just like really grateful for that.
so cute. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah.
wanna be that to someone someday.
I think you will.
Yeah, yeah, that is so nice.
I will, but only with like weird bad movies. I'll be like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll be like, have you seen Tammy and the T-Rex with Denise Richards and Paul Walker's brain and a cybernetic T-Rex. Like those are the movies I've had. My mom's boyfriend is like, here's Taxi Driver, here's The Godfather.
there's, like, film you need
Yeah.
to, like, study up
I'm like,
on.
here's Blood Hook and and Frankenhooker. Like this is my canon.
We're gonna get you cultured, kid.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. This is the real good shit.
so good. Kind of what you've
um
done with me, so you've already
I
achieved something.
I have that effect.
Yeah.
Um We have a couple of returning Gothic guys in this
Mhm.
movie. We have Jason Isaacs,
Mhm.
who was in the Mia Goth one,
Yes, what is that? The Cure for Wellness.
Here for Wellness,
Yes.
great in that, and then
Mhm.
Sam Neill is back.
Oh, oh, Sam Neill. I It's so funny because so, I mean, this is not like, revolutionary. Jurassic Park was the number 1 movie the day I was born. I grew up loving Jurassic Park. If you asked me at, like, any point in my life before, like, maybe 5 years ago, what my favorite movie was, probably would've put Jurassic Park in there somewhere. Like, it
Mhm.
would have been somewhere in my and I still love it, like, don't get me wrong. But,
Great movie.
obviously, from watching that, Sam Neill in my mind for the majority of my life has been this hard case, serious archaeologist, you know, very, like, stoic, very normal. I watched 2 movies. I watched The Position, and I watched Event Horizon, and 30 years of character development for Sam Neill out the window. This man is the weirdest little freak. Like, his reputation in my mind, say is tarnished, I would say it's improved, but he is just a strange little guy. What a huge and I think I actually read something about how Paul Anderson specifically cast him because, people had this idea in his head from Jurassic Park that he was this not strange evil, like, it would be shocking to see him in this role, and it is.
I remember being really I don't know if upset is the right word. I was
Yeah.
really shook by
Yeah.
that in 1997 because, yeah, I knew him as Dr. Grant,
Mhm.
and going into this movie, did not expect him to be flying around naked, covered in scars, like Pinhead, shooting flames out of his fingers with the
Yes.
climax of this
Right.
movie.
Delivering the greatest line of all time, which is, "We don't need eyes where we're going." Chef's kiss. So weird. He's just such a little freak. I absolutely adore him in this.
He's great in this.
Yeah. Again, in my minimal research, I was, reading an article about Sam Neill, and it's funny because it was an older article. It might have been the same one that was, like, from 2020, um, and they referred to Sam Neill as the king of Twitter, and I clicked on the link, obviously, to go to his Twitter, um, and it was really funny because he hasn't posted anything now since, like, 2021. He gave up on Twitter, which makes me sad. But his last tweet, ever on Twitter was, um, someone tweeted how the, um, patch on his uniform in Event Horizon was kind of strange, and basically he was confirming yes, because the patch was the Australian flag, but where the Union Jack was, it was replaced by an Aboriginal flag, and Sam
Oh.
Neill, like, retweeted it and was like, confirmed yes, and that's something he specifically asked for because he thought in the future, they would kick those colonists out of there and have, like, a little Aboriginal, representation on the flag.
What?
What an insane detail.
My mind is blown.
Seriously, like, it made me respect him more, it made me respect the movie more, like, it made me really sad he's not on Twitter anymore. Because apparently too, he has been spending his golden years, like, raising pigs and chickens, so I don't know if he's still doing that. I didn't check any of his other social media, but I hope he is, I hope he's just having the best time,
I hope so
um,
too.
but yeah, and it was just so funny too that it was just happened to be the last tweet he, put out there. Yeah, Sam Neill, what a guy.
So is he Australian?
I think he is,
I
'cause
forget that.
I remember when we were talking about, Possession, I think I said something about, like, how I could not understand his accent, and I still kind of can't, but I think it makes more sense now, him being Australian trying to do other accents.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure he's Australian.
We've gotta get that Australian DVD company that I love, Umbrella. They've gotta
Mm,
do the Event Horizon director's cut box set. They love
yes,
supporting their Australian actors.
that would be so exciting.
They have, like, a Nicole Kidman box set.
Oh,
I forget what else. I forget she's the only one that I can
yeah.
think of, but
Yeah.
get the Nicole Kidman box set and the Sam Neill, Event Horizon collector's
Yes.
edition
Oh,
done.
I
Oh, and
would
I
love
guess
that.
Mad Max, Mel Gibson, but
Yeah, like Crocodile Dundee or something.
Crocodile Dundee. Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
the Steve Irwin Crocodile Hunter, the movie.
Yeah! Oh, I hope
Should
they
do that
do.
one.
Yeah. Oh,
Crikey.
crikey.
Well, let's hit the gothic beat
Mhm,
for Event Horizon. Our gothic films have 4 elements: a girl, a guy, a house, and a haunt. This one's a little tricky, but
mhm.
I think we can kind of fit everything in. So, our girl is basically the whole crew of this spaceship, the
Yeah.
Lewis and Clark.
Mhm. Yes. Um, I agree. Don't know that I have too much else to say about it. I mean, they're just people doing their job. I think there's a little bit of tension at the beginning. I think they said, that they were taking a break or a vacation or something, and yeah, I don't know. They brushed over that pretty fast.
Yeah.
Um, so, it definitely it's kinda it's one of those situations where it's like, "Oh, just wrong place, wrong time."
Yeah, and it does
Mhm.
really suffer because I imagine a lot of the character development is what ends up on the cutting
Mm,
room floor. That the hellscape that's too gory that would probably get an NC-17 rating, and then all of the character development. Because
yes.
the lead woman who survives at the end, I forgot she was even in the movie. We know
Yeah,
nothing about her, and she ends up being one of the 3 survivors.
exactly, and the only reason I know the guy is because he has a great line where he's floating out of the he's floating free in space. I can't remember exactly what he says, but he essentially says, like, "Yippee-ki-yay" or something. Um,
He's great. I really liked
he's
him.
great. I really like him, but yeah, the female lead, I could not tell you her name right now. Um, I kept getting her confused with there's I think only one other female character, but again, maybe I'm missing someone.
There's the kinda mama bear
'Cause
character.
that's who I was getting her confused with, was there was a woman
Mm,
with a child, which it was kind of funny because the child becomes this, like, you know, point for her, and usually in movies where it's like the child is causing some sort of, like, internal turmoil or something, the child is, like, dead or, like, the parents split up. He's just back at home. Like, he's just hanging out at home. Like,
I don't think I made that connection.
Yeah, like, I was expecting, like, I don't know, like, there's a part where the kid has, like, lesions all over his head. I was like, "Is the background gonna be that the kid, like, lost his legs in a fire?" Or, like, I don't know, like, some sort of dramatic thing, but no. She just she just, like, left the kid at home. Like, he's with his dad. Like, he's fine, and,
That
like, that's
part's such a
great.
hot mess, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm happy for the kid, I'm happy for the dad, but, you know, fine.
I had this the actress who plays the mom is Kathleen Quinlan,
Mm,
and I had this outsized opinion of her stardom when I was a
okay.
child. I thought Kathleen Quinlan was like Hollywood royalty or something because she was in Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks.
Right.
And my mom would talk about the movie a lot, and I don't know, we must have seen Kathleen Quinlan on Regis and Kathy Lee or something like that, and she
Mm,
does have a name I don't know, the name Kathleen Quinlan, it's just a great,
yes.
very aristocratic name, and then I
Yeah.
remember being so surprised she was in this movie, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this, like, respected Hollywood actress is in
Like,
Event Horizon," and they throw her down an
A-lister.
elevator shaft, and then I find out years later, it's like those are like, I don't know, 2 of the, like, 7 movies she did. Like,
Yeah.
she's not that prolific.
That's so funny. That's how I felt about the little girl in, Millennial Man in the Pepsi commercials. Do you remember her? She had, like, the curly hair and the really cute dimples.
Do you know who she's related to?
No.
Her name is Haley Eisenberg.
Is that Jesse Eisenberg's sister?
Yes.
That's so funny. So I thought she was like yeah, like, I was the same, like, I thought she was, like, Hollywood royalty, and I think it's because I grew up, my dad worked for Pepsi, and Millennial Man was always the airplane movie, and I used to travel a lot as a kid. I used to be on airplanes a lot. I thought she was, like if you had asked me, I would have been like, "That girl is bigger than Britney Spears."
It's Meryl Streep. It's Haley Eisenberg.
Kathleen Quinlan.
Catholic Quinlan. What a super movie that would have been.
That's so funny.
I remember someone mentioned her, the Pepsi girl,
Mhm.
years ago to me, and I had not thought about her in decades.
Yeah.
And I looked up a YouTube video and I said, "She looks like if Jesse Eisenberg was a girl." And then I Googled her and I was like, "Oh my God, she is. She's his
That's so
sister."
funny.
Like they have, if you look at it again, they have the same face.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see it, like, kind of now. I haven't seen what she looks like at all as an adult, like, she
No, me neither. I think she's disappeared from the public eye.
for her. She probably she got her check and she got out of there.
You make a shit ton of money
Is it called Millennial Man? Am I messing
from
this up?
commercial. The
The
one
one
where
with,
Robin Williams is a robot?
yes.
I think
Isn't that what
so.
yeah. Oh my goodness. I that's so funny. I forgot how to spell millennium.
There's a lot of double letters in it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Oh, that's funny though. Okay. I vote for Millennial Man.
Maybe that'll be gothic.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get. So our guy and our house and our haunt are all kind of the same thing. This like
Yeah.
I don't know, sentient spaceship from hell.
Yeah, spaceship that's bent. It's so strange because yeah, they definitely, we've talked about it before. We like a movie that doesn't hold your hand and give you the answers. Um, but this is you're really left filling in your own blanks. Like,
It's
is the ship
nonsense.
like actually sentient? Is it possessed? Is it like the ghosts of the people who died? It's like it's very strange.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's complete
Yeah.
and utter nonsense. And I don't know if it made sense in 120 minutes. It has to
Mhm.
at least make a little more sense.
Yes. Yeah.
I would hope.
Yes. I did really like the ship design. Um, there's two things I want to point out about it. One is I think it's is it Sam Neill? I think it's Sam Neill is crawling through this duct at one point, and it's like lit up with like green lights, and it actually looks a lot like the text from The Matrix. Like it has that
Oh, you're
like
right.
yeah, and I don't know, I just loved that like moment. I loved that scene. It was very like futuristic, claustrophobic, and creepy. I thought it was really cool. Um, and then something else again that I read was I think it was the director talking about it. They based the outside of the ship and specifically like the thrusters, so like sort of like the almost like the towers on the side of it. They based it off of Notre Dame. So it's supposed to look like
Oh.
a Gothic cathedral from the outside. Yeah. I do
Wow.
think you miss it a little bit because probably again, it was probably cut. Um,
Mhm.
but I I I thought the outside of the ship looked really cool. Um, thought they did a really good job with scope. Everything feels
Mhm.
like very big, but also very claustrophobic.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I like the setting a lot in this.
It has a great atmosphere, and I think you're
Mhm.
right, that's probably something else that gets cut, is
Yeah.
those establishing shots, the moody
Mm,
shots. I am glad they
yeah.
left that tunnel in, it looks like the green circuit boards, all the circuit boards lining.
Yes.
But that's
Yeah.
I rewound that, I was like, "Wow, that's a really good shot."
It's a really good shot. And you have to imagine too, I mean, 1999, I think the whole movie was filmed on a soundstage. That still means that there's still some cool practical um set pieces and things. I mean, there's obviously parts that are very bad CGI. Pretty much the whole engine thing, whatever it is that is causing them to rip a hole through the it literally looks like just a big version of the box from what did we just compare it to? Hellraiser. It literally
Oh, you're
it,
right.
yeah, it looks very much like that. Um that area didn't do much for me.
It secretes that weird black liquid that also looks
Mm,
terrible.
yes. Yeah, it does.
That looked really, really bad. Some of
Mhm.
the outer space stuff looks like bad green screen,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Right. There's also the kind of cool, but also I feel like very we've seen it, setting of Sam Neill's home. He keeps having flashbacks to where we start, and it's just a white box. Um, white
Yes.
box. You know, I feel like that is so like, it reminds me of A Space Odyssey. It reminds me of basically every other science fiction movie of the past. You know, this was 1999, so obviously, you know, other movies after have also done it, but, yeah, white box on a space station.
And there's a bathtub in it because it's gotta be The Shining.
Yes, it actually reminds me a lot of, the room that, in we literally you just brought it up with Mila Djokovic,
Fifth Element?
Fifth Element, the room that Bruce Willis is staying in. His is grimier and dirtier, but it's, like, the same shape and, like,
That's
it's
true.
yeah, yeah, so
I
very,
I love
very s
I I love Bruce I wish I could live in Bruce Willis's little apartment in The Fifth
I
Element.
know, it's so nice. I
I
would
like how
rather live there.
the fridge and the shower are, like, the same thing. It's like a tiny house.
Yes. Tiny house, yes, he was tiny living before it was cool.
Oh, he so was.
Yeah, but yeah, very, very science fiction-y, kind of standard, but I think there's some really cool elements to it.
Yeah, well-constructed set for
Mhm,
sure.
mhm.
But I can't think of anything else to add with our gothic stuff.
No, I don't think we have any bonus gothics. There's no I mean, the only romantic element, if you even wanna call it that, is Sam Neill and his wife. There's that B plot of again, like, it's such a dramatic movie, and I'm not saying that every dramatic movie has to have, like, insane dramatic, like, just because a movie looks dramatic doesn't mean it has to have, like, this dramatic, um, plot or, like, you know, need, but again, like, it's same thing with the mother, like, her kid is just fine, like, yes, his wife killed himself, and it was very sad, and it was very violent, but it was, like, because he worked too much. Like,
Right.
it wasn't,
Right.
like, "That sucks, my guy." Like,
Yeah.
again, just, like, kind of standard, just the simplest reason I feel like you could think of to get to that point.
Simple is a good point. Simple script, stupid person,
Yes.
simple script. They did the
Yeah,
best they
yeah.
could to improve upon it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so that's the only element that is, like, kind of a even a relationship, although I guess technically the 2 survivors at the end of the movie, they kinda have some flirting, you don't get into it almost at all because why would you? That would be character development.
Right. You
Yeah.
barely see the 2 characters we see probably the least are the ones that end up closing the
Mm,
movie.
yes. Definitely no piano, no cats,
No
no
doors.
no
There's, like,
yeah,
some
really no
portals, but those don't count.
yeah,
Those aren't go
those don't count.
those little, like, Oculus doors that go zoot, zoot, zoot,
Mm,
those are not
yeah,
gothic. Those are as
those
far from
those are not
gothic as you
gothic.
can get.
No, no, no incest.
Ah,
No.
boo.
Boo.
We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, we haven't. We need to watch an incest movie again.
Yeah. We'll think of
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, drop your comments for good
Yes.
incest movies.
Oh.
But yeah, so no bonus gothics, but yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, what do you think this movie is?
The weird thing is that despite us being like, "Well, there's not a lot of gothic elements,
Mhm.
there's no bonus gothics," I don't know. I'm hesitant to say flat out, "No gothic."
I agree. I think there was definitely an intention to make it gothic, so
Mm.
that makes me wanna give it goth-ish in the least, honestly. I would almost bump it up
Mhm.
to gothic.
I I yeah, I wish I love that you mentioned the spaceship looking like Notre Dame because that gives it that religious element and that
Mm,
sacrilegious element where you have this holy place that is being
uh,
defiled by these hellish demons, and that
yeah.
is very, like that's like 18th, 19th century Gothic to me, that's like
Yeah,
old school Gothic.
yeah, that's, like,
Um,
quintessential gothic.
yeah, so I could see maybe the director's cut will be Gothic,
Mm,
and maybe
yes.
this 90-minute version is Gothish.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I think if it delved more into, exactly what it was that was happening,
Mhm.
um, and I think if we got some more character motivation and there was a little bit more, like, allure to it, like,
Yeah.
something,
So there
but
needs to be some more atmosphere, some more of a spark.
mhm, yeah, but yeah, goth gothish, I think, is a good place to put it now. I would definitely, you know, if the director cut ever comes out, I would love to talk about it again at that point. Maybe we'll do, like, a
Oh,
bonus episode if that ever happens. Because
100%. We will
yeah,
revisit.
yeah, because I think that there could be a lot of really good, um, details.
It's not often that there's a movie that I feel like has that much cut out
Mm,
that
yeah.
gets restored. That's one reason I'm so curious. That's an almost an hour of content.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it got actually, what fucked this movie up was, Titanic. I guess Titanic got pushed to be released in September, and so they decided to move Event Horizon up sooner, to
Mm,
fill the summer blockbuster time, and they had to cut a
got
lot out. Yeah,
Yeah, because nothing wanted to come out in the, like, 4 months after Titanic.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I feel like this was a summer movie. I feel like we saw this during the summer.
yeah, yeah, but, oh, what could have been.
What could have been?
Mhm, mhm.
Are there any other memorable scenes you wanted to talk about this gothish movie?
I don't know that I have any that I haven't already talked about, so I will pass it on to you. Do you have any memorable scenes?
When my husband from a parallel dimension, Jack Noseworthy, gets sucked out of the airlock. That stuck with me for like almost my entire life. Like that just
Yes.
horrified me for
Yes.
almost my whole life. Anytime I watched any sort of movie in space, I would
Mhm.
think about that scene.
It's funny actually because, again, I was I don't use Twitter, I don't have a Twitter account, but I decided after I saw that Sam Neill tweet to see if anyone else was talking about Event Horizon on Twitter, and someone tweeted something about how I think there's, like, a trend going on, I'm out of the loop, but it's like a trend of you say something that you're doing something kind of ridiculous, and then you end it with "as one does." Um, and so I saw a tweet that was basically this person being like, "Oh, just watching Event Horizon and being traumatized by airlocks as one does." And because you had said something about it to me before, and I was like, "Oh, is this chance?"
Oh gosh. So
But
traumatizing.
yeah, but it had an effect on people.
It I feel like anyone who saw the movie in 1997, that really stuck with them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes, like I said, I was not expecting the movie to be so gross.
It's really disgusting.
I will say one part, so I think it's not the glimpse into hell scene, it's the earlier one with the crew. When you
Mhm.
see what happened to them, there is a part where one of the crew members is holding out their eyeballs in their hands, and that, like, 1 second is yucky.
Yeah, I rewound that one a couple times just because, again, you get these flashes, and I kinda wanted to see I never really tried to see what was going on,
Right.
but
Yeah.
then the Pluto TV app, I watched this on Pluto TV,
Yes.
is such a piece of shit
Oh, it's
that
horrible.
sometimes I would hit rewind, and it would go back to the beginning of the movie,
Ugh, ugh,
and I would have
awful.
to cut out of the app. Sometimes I'd have to turn my TV off and back on
Wow.
to get to where I could fast forward again, because 'cause I'm like, "I'm not watching another hour and 20 minutes to get back to where I was." I had to
Yes.
watch when we did The Haunting with Catherine Zeta-Jones, I had to
Mm,
watch that on Pluto TV. That was also a terrible experience. I
yeah.
love Pluto TV for streaming, I love watching the Bob
Mm,
Barker channel on Pluto TV, but for
interesting.
for I love my live stream Bob
Yeah.
Barker channel, but for on demand, I don't know what their issue is, but it's bad.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I think I texted you saying that, I watched on Pluto, and the ads were just so brutal. Like, you get ads on Tubi, but I feel like Tubi also, whatever algorithm or whatever they're doing, they're pretty well paced, and they end up at, like, pretty good times. Pluto, it would be like, I swear to God, I'd be in the middle of a scene. Be like, "Are
Mhm.
you" it's just brutal. Pluto, work on it because I wanna support you as much as I support Tubi, but oh my goodness, it was a
No,
trip.
Tubi's leagues ahead. Tubi feels like someone has watched every movie and has thoughtfully placed the
Yes.
commercial breaks,
Yeah.
and Pluto TV is like someone just shook up the commercial breaks and threw them, and then they they are where they lay.
Side
Ugh.
note, I saw something that Tubi had more viewers in the past month, or maybe it was year, but in a past section of time than, like, HBO, Netflix, and Disney combined.
Tubi, Tubi, Tubi,
Tubi,
Tubi,
Tubi. Like,
Tubi.
I'm so sorry it's a Fox network, program, but you know what?
Mm,
In this
we can't all be
economy.
perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. In this economy, and if you like Tubi, sign up for Canopy through your library.
Oh, great. 2 great assets.
2 great free, you don't even need to buy streaming services.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't think I have any anymore.
You're lucky.
Yes.
Well, what on these on your non-paid streaming services, what else have you been enjoying lately?
So, I haven't well, there's one movie I watched, but I won't bring it up too much because I think we might talk about it in a future episode, so I'll mention it briefly, but I watched Twixt with Val Kilmer, and I enjoyed it so much, it's so wildly entertaining. Um, but I hope we will talk about that soon. So I will put that on the back burner. But I did finish a book I was reading. Honestly, I picked it up because of the title. It's called Another Bullshit Night in Suck City. I
I've
might have
heard of this.
Yeah, I might have brought it up briefly in the last episode, or at least to you the last time we talked, because
I
I was
don't think
almost
so, because this is
Oh, okay.
sparking something deep in, like this is an old book.
Yes, it's an older book. It's a biography, so it's by this author, Nick Flynn. It's a biography of him. He is living in Boston.
Oh.
Um, he is sort of dealing with his own problems, his own drinking and drug habits, but he's also working at a homeless shelter. It's called the Pine Street Inn. It's actually like a very famous homeless shelter in Boston.
Oh.
And throughout his time working there, he starts encountering, like, he's not a permanent resident, but he kind of floats in and out. His own father is coming because his father becomes homeless. His father, who he hasn't known for the first like 20 years of his life.
Wow.
Um, it is, and it's I could not put it down when I was on vacation. If you like
Okay.
biographies, which I love biographies, I highly recommend it. If you like Boston, I think it's a really good, like, time capsule of Boston in, I believe, the 90s is when the main part of the book takes place. But it also jumps back to like the 60s and 70s, talking about his father's youth. Um, and I think it's a really humanizing look at homelessness, which is incredibly important. And especially this book being older, it's, I think, still like a touchstone for that.
Mm.
It's so well written. There are parts of it that I like more than others because he kind of does this funky thing where, like, he almost does like experimental, like, part of it is like a play kind of setup. I don't love that, but like the content is still good.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's really like unput downable. It's really, really incredible. And I'm excited because I actually haven't read it yet. I was saving it for tonight before I go to sleep, but I still want to talk about the book. The version I'm reading is an updated, like, edition. And at the end,
Oh.
he writes a little blurb at the end because, and maybe this is why you know the book too, the book was adapted into Being Flynn with Robert De Niro and Paul
Oh.
Dano,
Oh.
um, which I haven't
Maybe.
watched yet, but I checked out from the library. Um,
Okay.
so I'm really excited because the part that he writes after his little new addendum is a part he writes after the movie comes out and like the effect the movie had on
Oh.
him and his life and stuff. Um,
Wow.
Yes, I very much recommend it. I tend to kind of like to recommend more like fun, lighthearted things, obviously, on the podcast. Um, but this was just incredible. I really, really enjoyed it.
I love that. I might try to
Yeah.
see if there's an audiobook.
Yeah, I would be interested in it as an audiobook. It's usually how I read my nonfiction is with audiobooks, but
Mhm.
I just grabbed this one because it was a paperback at my library. The title caught me and I wanted something to throw in my bag for vacation. And I mean, it was just like I said, it was so engaging.
I love that.
Yeah, very good. Highly recommend. And it even though it's like a very heavy topic and stuff, there are some very funny parts to it, like parts that
Okay.
had me laughing out loud. So, um, yeah, I do recommend Another Bullshit Night in Suck City.
It is a great title.
Yeah, I was reading it on vacation, and I was on vacation with my friend from Colorado, and I told her I was reading it, and she kinda laughed at the title, and I was like, "Yeah, and it's about Boston." And she was like, "Oh, did I write it?" Because, of course, she hightailed it out of Massachusetts. I said, "I think a lot of people could have written that book." I personally love Boston. Who's the guy that you're in love with from Event Horizon?
Jack
Uh,
Noseworthy.
Matt Noseworthy, he could have written it. He hightailed out of the greater Boston area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he made it well. I could have been
Anyways,
Mr.
okay.
Noseworthy.
That would have been so good. So, Chance, what have you been enjoying?
I watched something else that had a provocative title. I watched a movie from 1991 called Whore.
Okay, please explain.
Yeah. So I this is a little bit got to go a little bit around the block on this one.
Ooh,
So
okay.
yeah, this movie is from 1991. It's called Whore. It's
Uh-huh.
directed by Ken Russell, who also directed Gothic, which is a Gothic movie that we've never talked about.
Okay. That's very
Um,
funny.
so I, again, this is a circuitous route we're going to take to get to Whore.
Okay.
Um, People who are listeners to the podcast know we work at a library. They may not know that many libraries get their physical media, like DVDs and Blu-ray, from a company called Midwest Tape.
Yes.
And I love to flip through the Midwest Tape catalog because they still send a
Mhm.
paper catalog, like 3 of them a week.
Oh, yeah, so many.
The Midwest Tape catalogs are fascinating because there's seems to be absolutely no curation. You will have equal space devoted to like a real movie like Moana 2 and
Yes.
also like one of those weird animated like DreamWorks knockoffs. Like, it's
Yes.
like Plucky Penguin and it's clearly just a really bad ripoff of Happy Feet.
Yeah, me too.
But they get equal space as if those are
Yeah.
equal movies in the Midwest Tape catalog.
Yes.
And so I was looking over the shoulder of the person who does the AV ordering for the library, and she's flipping through the catalog. I said, "Oh my God, you have to order Whore," because Whore was in the Midwest Tape catalog. And this is a movie that I used to see all the time, the cover at the video store that I went to when I was a child. And it would make me
Mhm.
really uncomfortable because it said Whore, and it was just right
Yes.
there with all of the other movies.
Oh my
And then
god.
I found out later that this movie is made from a respected director,
Mm.
and it's made as a response to Pretty Woman. It's made
Mm.
to show the non-glamorous life of a sex worker and meant to be this like gritty, more realistic is what I was led to believe.
Yeah.
Um and honestly, it kind of is that.
Okay.
But it's also a comedy, which I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
The lead performer, her name is Teresa Russell. I don't think she's actually related to Ken Russell, the director.
Oh, interesting.
It's as if Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, were a hooker. Her
Nice.
performance is very Elvira. It's very Valley Girl. Sometimes she looks directly into the camera and talks to you like Elvira does in her movies. So there's
Yeah.
this fourth wall breaking, but the subject matter is so bleak. And it's to me, it gives these vibes like if this were your life, like if you were a sex worker, you would have to laugh about this or you'd kill yourself. Like that's kind of the vibe that it gives.
Yeah.
Like it's at its core really, really sad, but you have this character who's just kind of frothy, but
Mm.
not aloof. She's not like I can't think of the right vocabulary words. Like, it's very serious. Like, but she can't let
Yeah.
it bring her down or it would kill her.
Right, like, she's not,
The movie never acknowledges that.
yeah, she's not trying to, like, ignore it or, um, be what's the word I'm thinking of now? Like,
Like,
when you sort of disassociate. Yeah.
disassociative, or she's not trying to dismiss the issue or
Yeah.
diminish the issue. The movie's not trying to make fun of her as a character or
Interesting.
make light of the situation, but
Yeah.
it's a kind of like sometimes screwball comedy and sometimes just really upsetting,
Mm.
but then she just rebounds. I don't know. I found it fascinating.
Interesting. Huh.
And maybe it will be at your local library. I love that we are probably the one library in our network that owns horror.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one's a tough sell for most libraries.
It was, and if anyone challenges it, I'll say it was in the Midwest Tape catalog.
Perfect. Perfect.
We
Yeah, those
bought this
catalogs
from
are
our vendor.
Yes, those catalogs are so funny. I just recently was trying to buy a documentary. I was looking at their documentaries and, they were selling one and it looked interesting, so I looked it up to see if I could find any reviews or anything. I can't even remember what it was, but I found out that the documentary was 45 minutes long, and it was just basically a YouTube video. I found it on YouTube, and they were selling it for, like, $17, Midwest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, more inside baseball is that Midwest Tape owns Hoopla, which is another
Mhm.
library service that has no curation, and there's been a lot of behind the scenes controversy about
Yes.
Hoopla's massive AI generated content library.
Yes.
They will throw anything anywhere, Midwest Tape.
I will say, though, Hoopla, highly recommend just to have a laugh at things. You can get, Ted Nugent came out with a cookbook. You can get that on Hoopla.
Get the
So
fuck out of here.
it's called I think it has a crazy name too, like Breading with Ted Nugent. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so, um, you know, just be conscientious, think about what you're borrowing from it, but it's great service.
You have to
Um,
bring a lot of product knowledge with you to
mhm,
Hoopla because they're not going to they're
yes.
in a way, it's kind of Hoopla's kind of democratic in that
Yes.
way. They're not
Yeah.
they're not making decisions for you.
Yes. Yeah.
They're just giving you, which
They're
is
giving you the
very
options.
library of them,
Yes.
but maybe a little bit of sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, I don't even know if you know what your content
Oh,
is.
absolutely. By the way, I just looked it up and, I was wrong about the title, the Ted Nugent, cookbook. It's Ted and Shemaine Nugent, so him and his wife, and it's called Kill It and Grill It, and it's a guide to preparing and cooking wild game and fish. And he's holding a gun on the cover. They both
Of
are.
course he is. Of
Yeah,
course they are.
yeah. So, um, borrow that from your local library, um, and enjoy.
Yeah, and grill it. I mean, we'll kill it first and then grill it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could grill it and kill it. It's
Mm,
probably more difficult.
less humane.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Midwest Tape, and you can just tell by the name that they're not really much of a forward-thinking company. They were like,
Yeah.
"You know what? We're selling tapes."
We're still selling tapes, and we're
They
gonna
were
keep
selling
selling
cassette
tapes.
tapes, and they were selling VHS tapes, and as
Yes.
those media died, they kept the name Midwest
Oh,
Tape.
yes, they did, and they are, still they have a very, special place in my heart, I find.
They're quaint.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Amanda. And thank you, Ghosties, for listening to us talk about Event Horizon. You may subscribe to us wherever you get your fine podcasts. You can rate or review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And please share us with a friend. Until next time, stay ghosty. Bye bye.
Mm.